Hello, and welcome to Close the Door and Come Here, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast about our two favorite characters, Jaime and Brienne. Hi, I am Chicky, and I am Chicky on Blue Sky Social, and I am joined today by Clotho.
Hi, I'm Clotho, and you can find me at Clotho Spindle on Blue Sky Social.
And Kama.
Hi, I'm Kama, and you can find me at Kama's Place on Blue Sky Social.
And today we are going to be discussing Davos's second chapter in A Dance with Dragons. And we're picking up kind of from, I guess it was a little bit of a well, not a full-blown cliffhanger, but a cliffhanger in his last chapter of what is going to happen to him when he's in the Sister Islands. And we find out he has been shipped off to White Harbor, and he's coming into harbor. And I feel like this is just like this, you could subtitle this chapter Davos Reminisces, because he just does a lot of reminiscing in this chapter, a lot of thinking back over things that he's done. And one of the kind of cool things that he does is that he's thinking about the time that he's been to White Harbor in the past. He thinks about his captain that he sailed under and how the captain, and I love this. This is like one of the best details. The captain used to say that every port had its own smell, like every woman has their own smell. And like this was just like such an evocative concept, and George clearly was really leaning into it and enjoying it himself. But it was a really, I thought, didn't you guys think that was a really good little, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I liked that King's Landing is an unwashed whore or whatever.
Right,
yeah. So Davos is pulling into White Harbor, and he looks up at this, what was it called? The Seal Tower or something? Anyway, it was this place that used to be like an ancient fort up on, like, it sounds like a rock or an outcrop or something. And it used to be just a place that seals would sun themselves, but he notices that Wyman Manderley now has this like manned as a fort. And he thinks that that probably does not augur well for the state of things as he is heading into White Harbor. And I think he's probably correct about that. So they get pulled into port, and Davos is dressed in this very nondescript way. And he kind of sneaks off, and he's thinking about the places that he could go in White Harbor. He really only thinks about like his first trip here when he was young, but it's pretty obvious he's been here more than once, right? I got that feeling. Didn't you guys get that feeling?
Yes, I mean, maybe not like it's not like a regular call for him, but he's been all over the place, and he has been here before.
Right, because he mentioned that every time they were there, was it his captain would tell him to count the seals because it would bring them good luck. If they got the more seals, the better, kind of like that they saw. He felt like that was some kind of, I don't know, it was an omen. I don't know if it was OCD on the captain's part, but they felt like it was some kind of thing.
Yeah, he did mention that. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, he definitely has been here several times. So he's thinking about the places that he could go. There's a really good brewery where he thinks, oh, I could sell the ale from there for a lot of money, he could go to that the locals like. But instead he goes to this, kind of reminds me of like a counterpart to the Stinking Goose that Brienne ends up in. And where is that, Maidenpool or wherever?
Right,
yeah. Down to the food.
Yeah, exactly. So he like goes down into this like dank basement of a tavern. And he talks about how like even the prostitutes are really old at this place. So it's like, it sounds really rough. And he says that only out-of-towners go there. This is not a local spot. But we pretty quickly see what his intent is. He goes and like orders a cup of really suspicious wine and goes and sits in a corner. He blows out the candle at his table, and he just kind of sits back to listen. And I realize that's probably not what George had in mind, even though the timing would work. But this very much reminded me of like a visual of when you first meet Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings movies, when he's sitting in a pub, like with a hood on, like in a back corner, like in a shaded spot watching the room. That was what I was thinking of anyway. So anyway, Davos settles in to listen and to hear like all of the rumors about what's going on. And in many ways, we're kind of just getting replays of things that we've been hearing everywhere anyway. There's some, obviously gossip about what's going on in White Harbor. There's some gossip about, the Boltons. Ramsay gets a mention or two here. Nobody likes the Boltons. a bunch of refugees have ended up in White Harbor because of the Boltons, because of Ramsay specifically, it sounds like. And you get like a little bit of rumors about what's going on in the rest of Westeros. But it's funny because compared to what Davos was hearing in Eastwatch, he's hearing like nothing about the wildlings or what's going on at the Wall, and he doesn't hear anything about Stannis, which I do think is odd. I mean, you're fully in the north here. Like, White Harbor is the north. Like, it's kind of crazy that he's not hearing anything about Stannis being
You would think
at Castle Black. Yeah, you'd think it would be noteworthy, you'd think.
It's sort of like, you know, if you lived in Detroit, you'd probably be aware of what's going on in Windsor, which is across the river in Canada, because it's across the river, like a 5-minute drive. You'd know.
Yeah, you'd know. You just would think that you would, or that you would at least get a mention of it, but he doesn't. It's interesting. He actually even overhears some stuff like vaguely about Dany and dragons, and like there's talk about the revolt in the slave cities, I think, and yet, you know, not anything so close to home. So he does hear a little bit about because when he pulled into port, he saw the Frey's ship was in port. And he hears a little bit about the fact that one of Wyman Manderley's sons was killed as he's heard, but the other one is currently a prisoner of he thinks the Lannisters. But I think this is the one that Jaime sent home, isn't it? I think he did. I think he sent him home from when he took Harrenhal in Feast, right. I think. So you hear a little bit about this, and so this does not augur well for Davos's mission in town. So when Davos feels like he's gotten as much information as he can. Oh, I wanted to stop and mention, because I think we had talked a little bit about how we felt like Davos was not thinking about his kids as much as you'd think he would after they died. He really does spend some time in this chapter thinking not only about his dead sons, but his living ones a little bit more, and really wishing he could see them and that he would, you know, get to maybe journey with them later. And he's clearly much more worried about the one who's with Stannis at Castle Black. Which one is that, comma? I can never remember. Is it
Mathos? No, the one who survived? Are we talking about?
Well, the one who is he Stannis' squire? He's with one is with Stannis, and then two are with Maria, his wife.
I think it's Devon. You're thinking of Devon, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Devon, yeah. Because
the other two who are younger are Stannis and Stefan, and they're with Maria.
Stannis and Stefan, that's right. Oh yeah, he calls his son Stannis Stanny.
I couldn't remember that, and it made me laugh when I saw that. I was like, is that real? Am I seeing this? Stanny sounds so funny.
Yeah, he called them Stanny and Steffi. I forgot about that. Anyway, I just shout out, yes, no, Davos is not a terrible father. He is thinking about his kids here, and he is clearly very sad about his dead sons in this chapter, as he's been reminiscing so much. So anyway, he leaves this really fun bar, and he kind of, you know, you get kind of just the hesitation where he knows, because all Davos does is just go from one dangerous mission to another for Stannis. So he slowly starts ascending toward the castle. And he presents himself and presents his little letter with all the seals from Stannis, attesting to who he is. And so he's gonna follow through with his mission and try to find out where Wyman Manderley's loyalties lie, I guess is the best way to put it. So not a short chapter, but a short summary, because that's what happens in it.
It's just a lot of internal,
not a ton. There's a lot of stuff in this, but that's really, to me, kind of the pertinent info. Did you guys have anything else to talk about from it?
I kind of love, like, at the bar, brothel, whatever it is. It's sort of like, I don't know that I mean, it's one thing to get news from places like this, but it's kind of hysterical how everyone is just the back and forth. Like, there's a lot about Wyman Manderley's weight, and there's just a lot of, like, I mean, it would be like going to a local bar and hearing about politics, you know, from random people. And I just don't know how accurate a read you're going to get on that. But I guess it's a medieval setting; it's a little different. But
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like the complaints you hear about the mayor if you go to a specific city, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right, and you could see how where they got things that they were getting wrong and things that they weren't. So that would be hard for, he's trying to gather information, but how much of it is just the rumors that get out of control? The phone game,
yeah.
basically. People word of
Yeah,
mouth getting
exactly.
changed, but it just underscores like he's so loyal because I think towards the end, doesn't he kind of think, well, that's it. The gig is up. This isn't going to work. But he's still like, I have to do this. It's just wild how incredibly loyal he is
He
Well,
to
is
he's one
so
of the
loyal.
handful
cause.
of he's one of the handful of truly decent characters in the series. You know,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's the human being. He's the guy with the compassion and the decency who's, never lets, no matter what he does, he never loses sight of, I think, his essential humanity. And, that's why I love him.
Yeah, it's why I
Yeah,
love him too.
he has
And
reasons
I'll
to.
say this. We just finished recording a Tyrion chapter before this, and it's just night and day the difference between being in Tyrion's head and Davos's head.
Right,
I would so much
right,
rather be in a Davos chapter, no matter what's
right.
Well,
going on.
like if this were Tyrion in White Harbor, even if he was in the same bar, he would be getting an erection with the old whore and talking
Oh
about
my
it. And,
god!
Yes.
and Davos is there to get information. He is not focused on what's going on with, his anatomy or thinking about all this stuff. I mean, it's just, there you go.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh gosh, because he has his reasons too. I mean, he lost half of his family, 4
Yeah,
children. That's
yeah.
horrendous. I mean, he has reasons to be bitter. He has reasons to do horrible things and turn out, you know what I mean? It's like, but
And
he
he has not seen
doesn't.
his younger children or his wife in like several years, and it's very unlikely he's going to see them anytime soon.
Right.
You
And he
know,
could lose even
Yeah.
more, his own life. It's just, yeah, it's
Well, that's it. And he's so maudlin. He actually thinks he's like, maybe I was only spared so that I could save Edric Storm, but Edric Storm is safe now. So it's like he's basically like thinking how it's like, okay, if he dies, it's just really, it is very like, I don't know, melancholy barely touches the surface of what it is. Did we have any mail about this chapter?
well, we didn't have specific about this chapter, but in episode, I believe it's 595, which I think I was modding that one, but we did go over a question from a stranger giving strange welcome. And they had referenced the kind of, well, at the time I didn't know, but now I know the infamous blog post by George Martin. And they sort of, said, what are you, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and I think their kind of take was, I get it, but it's still not cool with your status and your sort of as a writer that it's kind of like throwing it at everyone's face. So I thought it would be interesting if like, you and I've already gone over my shock about it, but you chicken comma can discuss.
Oh.
I think fans would like to hear
so
that.
I literally learned about it like 5 minutes ago when y'all shared it before we started recording. And I'm reading this, going, "What the hell?" And the more I'm reading it, the more annoyed I'm getting. Like, dude, he's done this crap before with these epic blog posts that he writes. Is he still using like the DOS based machine or whatever? I don't care. Either just write them or don't, but stop throwing shade at everyone who is
Well, no, he doesn't
legitimately
write the
concerned.
blog posts. The blog posts are not on the DOS-based machine. The
Oh,
DOS machine is only for writing the books.
of
But
course.
he has more than one computer. But yeah, I experienced this live in fandom, and there was kind of a meltdown when it happened because I think a lot of people took it to mean, oh, he's just not even bothering to pretend he's going to finish the books. I think he's mostly joking about the fact that people say that he will never finish, but at the same time, his bitterness about the complaints online is well, he's really just frank. It's explicit that he's bitter about it. He has a lot of complaints. I get it on some level. I mean, there are people who are really terrible to him online. I've occasionally been one of them. Not really terrible, but I complain about him not finishing these damn books all the time. I just, this is a good example of why famous people should not read comment sections on the internet.
Yep.
He needs to just not know. He's better off
Or not
knowing.
engage with them, or not acknowledge they exist. I know it's got to be hard.
Yeah.
It's like probably like reading reviews of your books on Goodreads. Don't do
Right.
that. No.
Yeah. Don't read your own reviews and don't read your own comment section. Would be good advice, but I'm sure no one actually takes it. So I get it. I get why he's complaining. At the same time, it's like this was a very tone deaf way of addressing it, because it just makes it sound like he thinks people are being silly for resenting his other projects. And it's like, well, no, they resent your other projects because you are 14 years, like at least 12 years overdue. Maybe more like 11 is fair. At least 11 years overdue from his own estimate of when he would have the Winds of Winter finished. So, I mean, it's not unreasonable that people are like, wow, maybe he should stop working on other things, because we're human and we comment on what each other do. That's just what happens. Like, you're gonna have things to say about what other people are doing. So I don't know what he expects from people, and I also don't know what he thinks the result will be when he is continuing to market things. He's selling books, he's selling peripheral materials from not just Game of Thrones, the show, but from the books themselves. There's still, A Song of Ice and Fire calendars and things like that. You're still trying to make money on a fan base. So they're, of course, going to have like very vocal opinions about the fact that you never finished this partial set of books that you sold all of us. I mean, yeah, I have thoughts about it. I've got a lot of thoughts about it. They're
Is
annoyed
there
thoughts.
any similar cases of something like this happening? I know there's been deaths of
Yes.
authors. Have there been
Yes.
cases where someone had such a loved, so it's sort of a similar, but maybe not this level of interaction with the fans? I don't know.
I would say not in modern history. Probably no one as famous as George. Patrick Rothfuss is pretty overdue with a book in a series, but they're kind of genre famous, but not widely famous. Like, obviously, like A Song of Ice and Fire is because of Game of Thrones. The only thing that could come close, I guess, God, why do I keep ending up discussing fucking J.K. Rowling on all these podcasts? But J.K. Rowling, Rowling is probably close. Sorry, Kama, go ahead.
No, it's funny because I can't stand her as a human being, but I always find myself defending her on this podcast because she at least finished her series.
She does finish her books, but I would say the same level of anticipation. I think she was maybe 3 years between like finishing her second to last book and her final book of the Harry Potter series. And I remember there being a little bit of like fervor about that, but I think it was, I don't think people were rabid to the point that they are with George. That's probably as close, and it's really not a good fit at all because she was not in any way overdue. I don't think she had a deadline for that. I mean, that's the other thing.
And I guess the sense that, I mean, his is so well loved. I mean, and hers was well loved, but she basically destroyed the love with her, vile behavior. She basically shit on all her fans. So it's weird. It's like she destroyed her fandom and the feelings that her fan have for the work, because it's like, it's basically like, I'm like, it's nothing now. It's kind of like with Neil Gaiman. It's like, okay, that's it. You're done. That's it for me with you. And J.K. Rowling, Neil Gaiman, that's it. And that's the thing.
Not Neil Gaiman, Neil Gaiman. Not Neil Gaiman.
Gaiman, yeah.
I don't think Neil Diamond has been canceled, but if he is, I can't.
Gaiman? Is there Gaiman? Is there somebody spelled different? Or
I thought you said Neil Diamond, like that.
No, I said Gaiman. I was pronouncing Gaiman instead of Gaiman. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like there's these people where, and what was the author of? She did horrendous things too. The one, and I'm like, that's it for me. I like that book. What was it? Mists of Avalon. She was horrendous.
Oh yeah, Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Yeah, that's it for me.
There's a couple fantasy authors like that. Like,
so I feel like if they go bad, I have no problem cutting it. I never have to read it again. Tough shit. I'd feel like that if George Martin ever did anything to that extent. As much as I love Jamie Brand, that'll be it for me. But I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that he still has that love. Like, people still, he doesn't realize it's not like, oh, people are hating on him. It's like they love the book so much that they're saying that he isn't finishing them. It's not like he did something heinous and people are cutting him off or canceling it.
I think it's not that he's not canceled. That's not the issue. It's more like the attitude here. Like, He isn't.
Yes.
He's doing it. There is no. Chicky is right. You don't do this. You may read it. I'm sure they all do, but you shouldn't be engaging with it because it gives like people are now aware you're engaging with their stuff,
Right. It's going to make it work.
and that's a problem. And it's all the stuff like it's all like I'm doing it. Really, I'm doing it, and I'm like, just write the damn things. Don't tell me you're. I don't care.
Right. And I said that last time. This is something you could write this. I get venting. I get this is like a therapy session. This is like something you tell your therapist or you tell your journal. You don't publish
go
this.
on.
This is like I get you feel this way, but it's so insulting to like other writers who aren't as popular as you, who never had this kind of
Yes, it is
platform
insulting that
and
way
to your
too.
readers and
Yes.
everybody. It's just
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to imply. I didn't mean. I with the J.K. Rowling. I just meant the anticipation of the books. The only thing I can think that even comes close
yeah.
was like Harry Potter back in the day. Yeah,
I know. It's
J.K.
so hard with
Rowling.
her. It's like every time you hear her name, it's like, oh
She's
God, I see red. Like it's horrible.
she's
And
a
I
pile
get
of
like,
garbage.
yeah.
Transphobic mess that I want nothing to do with. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, George. I don't know what the answer. Well, you know what the answer is, and we know what the answer is. Either you say the books are never coming, and then you have like a rage for a couple months, and then it's just done, and it ends, or you do finish the books. I mean, like those are the things that would stop the worst of the talk online. So if that's really your goal, those are the things you could do. Like just admit you're not going to finish it. That probably would go a long way, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it would. I think people would deal with it a little better than this just never-ending teasing that they are coming, because he constantly says they're coming and then they just never do. So
that's kind of dragging along. Because I mean, and this to me, when I read it, it does hit like that. It hits like this is my way of saying it, but not saying like why can't he just be direct? Like if you really, really, he could have just said, "I love these books, but realistically, I do not think I'm ever going to finish them." That could have been it. That could have been the post.
What it reads like to me is he had a fit of pique, and then he published it, and then instead of deleting it immediately and there being a zillion screenshots, which is what would happen, he left it up there. It's there. I mean, but like he just lost his temper, and I don't know what's worse, taking it down or leaving it up. But I'm like, dude, this is not how you do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect that he left it up. He's always a little messy and a little bitchy, so it's like, I'm fine with it. Leave it up. I wasn't even as upset about this. I mean, as a lot of fandom, I think it actually means that he's saying that he is still working on the books and he's resentful that people say he's not.
Like the current mood at the bottom is flashing that little alien thing and it says determined. So I guess that's him saying he is finishing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but then again, what George thinks he's going to do and what he actually does are pretty often two different things. So
he smartly disabled the comments, so at least he.
I don't think he's had comments on any of these for years now.
Okay. Yeah, because that is absolutely the wrong way to go.
It is, and look, don't get me wrong. I don't blame him for being upset about some of the shit people say. I don't blame him for being upset about the shit that I say. I don't blame him. I don't blame me either. But I don't blame him. Sure, it's terrible and annoying.
Well, he's a human being. It's a human reaction. I get it. I just don't care. I'm like, everything he's saying, I've said all the things he's saying that people say, and I hold by them. Like, I am a lifelong procrastinator. I know all about this thing. I get it. I do. But, at the end of the day, you're the only one who can do them. So,
Well, or you're the one who can control what the narrative is.
Yeah.
You can choose to say, you know what, I may not finish these books. I think just that alone would be enough. But he just
and I wonder if in a way that would give him peace that maybe he could actually fucking finish them. Yeah. Like if he psychologically told himself I don't have to, he wouldn't feel the pressure.
I mean, he's never finishing them no matter what. But yeah, it probably would help. I don't know. Regardless. Well, another day, another annoying George blog post. He's not getting better and we're not getting better is, I guess, what this comes down to. Okay, if you would like to send us messages about whatever George has recently been saying, You could do that. You can email us at closethedoor and at gmail.com. You can send us a message on Tumblr at closethedoorandcomehere.tumblr.com. As always, you can find us on the Jamie Brienne subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/Jamie Brienne. And we are on Blue Sky. And of course, I'm going to forget the handle again. Clotho, you're so good at this. Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
I
Is it close the door and?
Yep.
Okay, close the door and on Blue Sky. And I don't know. We might still be on Twitter. I don't know. I give up.
I think we aren't. Or we are, but are we? Is it still up? But we stopped. Like we don't.
Yeah, I think we're just
post
not
on there
posting there anymore.
That would
Okay.
require me to go to X to check, and I refuse to do
Yeah,
that.
I
so.
deleted
No one
mine.
needs
Yeah.
to go there. No one needs to go there. Speaking of things we don't need to deal with.
Oh yeah, he's up
anymore.
there with the horrible people. Musk and another.
Yeah. And as always, we would love to get your reviews on wherever you're listening to the podcast these days. I don't know. We're actually trying to get resubmitted to places because we realized that we were like basically only on Podbean and Apple Podcasts and a few places. So trying to get back out there. Please do like and review us, even if it's just a star rating. That does help people find the podcast. And of course, we are always grateful to our patrons on Patreon who help us keep the lights on. You can find us there at Close the Door. And if that's it, I am closing the door on Davos II and this terrible little blog post of George's saying, get out.